Totenreich just came out, and did it live up to the hype? My honest opinion, yes it did. I'm going to give you the good and the bad and what I wish they could have done better. Alright, so let's get started with the good. So the good, setting the atmosphere. I feel like the skybox, the setting, and overall atmosphere is just beautiful. I don't know if anyone has said this, but this map really reminds me more of one of the COD World War II maps than Origins. I think it's more of just the town. I think that's actually a good thing since the lore has this map taking place roughly during World War II with Richthofen. So overall, the setting in the atmosphere is one of the best in BO7. The map itself, the map is pretty massive, which I think is a good thing. I think this is one of the biggest maps in BO7 if you don't count the fog areas and Ashes of the Dam. Obviously, I don't think you really count it because, nobody's going to really train in the fog areas. It was also pretty easy to navigate, which was a concern of mine because I thought it was just going to be a slug to get from one end to another, kind of like Origins, but it wasn't. I also love the secret rooms you can get into by doing the Easter egg, which is amazing. I wish more maps did that. The weather system, speaking on the gameplay, the weather system with the ammo rounds are pretty great. It breaks up the flow of the map, which in my opinion is a positive. I know it's not a new thing since we've seen this free system with Jingle Hells, but it's unique to this map. No other map has it, which I think is a win. The free zombies are okay, nothing too special, but that's totally fine. They're not Ravagers, so I'm okay with it. The John 2-star and the quest to get it are awesome. There's a couple things that are mixed, but we'll get into that in a bit. The John's 2-star is probably the best wonder weapon in BO7 in my opinion. I do think it should have been paired with another wonder weapon though. It falls off in later rounds, which is fine, but since it is the main wonder weapon of the map, it just feels kind of underwhelming in terms of damage. I know we have the MP40 and the ultra rarity with that, and it's kind of like a wonder weapon, but it's still just a regular gun ported from BO6, so it doesn't really complement the wonder weapon. Don't get me wrong, I think the John 2-star is great and probably one of the best in the game in terms of wonder weapons and aesthetics of it, but I do feel like it either needs a buff or another wonder weapon on the map to complement it. The Necropincher is a awesome special zombie. He looks super cool, and he changes the way you play. His shield makes it so you can't just instantly spam him with bullets like other specials and elites, which is awesome. It's super interesting for map uniqueness. The one thing I wish was done differently is how squishy he is and how often he shows up. I wish he was more kind of like a Brutus or a Panzer where they come in once in a while, but when they do, you have to be careful and they're going to be, a force of reckoning. He could have had more health and been more of a threat. In reality, he's not really that threatening, but for a unique enemy, it doesn't hurt the map at all. Alright, so now we're going to get into the Easter eggs, which, if you don't want to be spoiled, make sure to skip ahead. Alright, so the Easter egg is fantastic. I know it's a shorter hunt than some of the other BO7 maps. Obviously, the map right before it was a lot longer, but it is filled with great and fun steps. That's something I'd rather have than longer and more tedious steps. I'm not saying the other maps have tedious steps. I'm just saying as long as the steps are fun, I feel like that's kind of a positive Easter egg in my book. I do feel like there's some that are kind of interesting, like the grabbing the chili and putting it on the table and waiting for a special round for a Zersa to spawn, kind of like sniff it out. It's kind of funny. I wish there was like an animation of the Zersa kind of going over and sniffing it before you actually fight it. I think that'd be kind of funny. And I do like the one gripe I do have with the Easter egg is the one step where you're taking the tank you get from the claw machine and putting it down in front of like a generator right next to quick revive. The first time I did that, I thought it was just a soul box. So I was just shooting zombies and stuff like that, and I wasn't progressing. And then I failed. I'm like, what happened? And then next round, I decided to start the generator and then kill some zombies, and then I decided to start the generator again. I saw it turned off because I didn't get like a cue or anything that it turned off, so I didn't know. Besides the little bar in the top left of my screen, but I wish there was a way to be either like a siren that's turned off or like a indicator to make it known that it turned off, because it feels like it felt like it it didn't tell me anything, so I didn't know what I failed it the first time because I didn't understand that I was supposed to keep turning it on. I thought it was just like a soul box type of thing. But besides that, the Easter egg is great. I love the John 2-star quest line. I feel like the John 2 quest line was the best part out of the Easter egg in obtaining the John 2-star with the constellations and the parkouring up the lighthouse. I think that's probably my favorite part about the Easter egg, and besides, the boss fight, which we'll get into in a sec, but I do feel like the boss fight in terms of the Easter egg, I feel like it's a great Easter egg. Obviously, the Shadow Smith being a big part of the Easter egg is always fun. I do like it when, I wish, my only gripe with the Shadow Smith is he's only part of the Easter egg. Like, you don't really see him, like, you see him at the start of the map when he lifts his foot and goes into the water. And then if you're not doing the Easter egg, he doesn't show up at all, which I feel like he should have showed up. He doesn't have to, like, do things on the map, like, try to take you out or something. He could just, even like how the Origins robots in Origins were just walking along the map. I know they're part of the Easter egg, but, like, even if you don't do the Easter egg on that map, you still see them, walking through the map. I feel like if we did something like that, or even on the outskirts, like him just walking around on the outskirts of the map, I feel like that would be okay. Besides that, I think the Shadow Smith is pretty threatening. I also like how you can go through the Origins robot and stuff. When I first played the map, I got to the Origins robot, and then I looked out the window and just kind of admired the view. I think it's one of the best things that you can do in zombies. I think it's so cool how you can just overlook the map, and then I do like how you can go into him and get shot out like in Origins and random different spots, which is kind of cool. The one thing I didn't understand, but I think I understand now, is like there's two entrances into the robot's head. And then there's one directly into the head, or that's connected to him. And then the other one I didn't understand. I was like, why is this connected to the head? I think it's part of his foot, so that's understandable. But besides that, I think the Easter egg is fun. I think the map is great. I think the mid-game, like in-game cutscene is great to see. I thought that was great of the Origins robot shooting the Shadow Smith and he just kind of gets all upset. I think that's kind of cool. I do like how the Easter egg introduces the two map unique score streaks, which I've been wanting this for a while. I want map uniqueness, and this map definitely delivers with the Wonder Weapon and then the score streaks, which is great. And I'm hoping they don't bring it to the other maps. I feel like it should stay this one. I know they're kind of basic and not that interesting, and they're more. One is more of like the airstrike, the LTRB or whatever it's called, and then the other one's just kind of like it shoots down and then it makes the zombies go up in the air and you can shoot them. They're not the greatest, but it's map uniqueness, which I think is a big plus. And then now we got to talk about the boss fight. I feel like the boss fight. I think this boss fight is in my top. I would say top 3 cinematic wise. I would say top 5 gameplay wise. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I think I have to play it a little bit more and go back and forth with it. But I do think it's I think it's the best in BO7. A lot of people are saying it's pretty hard though, and I'm gonna say not really. I did play on standard because that's what I normally do for the first boss fight, and then after I'll play Curse to see if it's harder. That's what I did with Paradox Junction, and then I gotta go back and do the other ones, but I know Paradox Junction was 10 times harder on Cursed. But in standard mode, it wasn't difficult at all. I rolled in with a Mustang and Sally, and MP40 at Tier 3 Pack-a-Punch, and then a Ray Gun Mark II, but I only had that to Tier 1 because I was already almost pushing level 40. Around 40. And then obviously I had the John 2-star at Tier 3 Pack-a-Punch. So I didn't really have too much difficulty. I feel like I also feel like it's because I went in with the MP40 Pack-a-Punch Tier 3. I think it is a Wonder Weapon tier weapon, which is great. But it runs out of ammo pretty quick, which, I understand they're trying to balance and stuff, which is fine. The step where you have to hit like the floating head with the John 2-star's alt shot was probably more annoying than difficult, just because I feel like I would hit it and nothing would happen. Am I supposed to hit it when his eye is red? When am I supposed to hit it when his eye is not red? Because I feel like I hit it and then nothing happened, and then I would waste, my alt store, so I would have to charge it back up. That was my only gripe about it. But the fight between the Origins robot and the Shadowsmith, that was great. It felt more like a movie, and I was right there in it, which is kind of cool. And after the Shadowsmith knocks out the robot, he turns towards you and throws rocks at you in a pattern. It reminds me of the Mephistopheles fight in Infinite Warfare, where it's like learning patterns, which I think is a nice change of pace of just shooting a bullet sponge. But overall, I think the boss fight was pretty great. I think, as I said, I think it's the best in BO7. And then, then we got the ending with the lore and stuff. I think, it's kind of cool with Richtofen and Weaver getting their souls back, which is cool. And then, obviously, the little tease towards the next map, which seems to be dealing with fire. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of stuff they would do, since this will be Takio's map. But it's also like, will this be the last map, or is there one more map after? Because I feel like, because they teased another Shadowsmith, obviously, so we can get Carver and Takio's souls back, which I'm hoping it's like a volcano type thing, but we'll see. And I'm hoping it's not the last map. I hope they do one more, but we'll see. Overall, I think this map is one of, if not the best modern zombies map we've had since BO4. I think that obviously this is the best BO7 maps. Not by much, because I do like, Astra, well, I like all of them, but probably close second will be Ashes. But if I would have to get a rating on the scale from 1 to 10, I think it would be a 9 out of 10. Obviously, there's some issues with the map. What map doesn't have it? But I had a good time, and I'm probably going to play more after I make this video. So let me know what you guys think in the comments and what you think about the map, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.